with that. Yeah. Lovely. Okay. So, Devster, everybody. How did Cuddles earn this bike? How did she manage to get Harry Brown to buy her a motorcycle? So Goon School was robbing Burger Shot. Let's roll it back. Speedy was doing this great big thing. Like he was doing Goon School, and the Goon School kept robbing Burger Shot. So my understanding is that Shelly canceled Speedy Wednesdays. Speedy was upset, so he kept sending Goon School after Burger Shot. So she's standing in the parking lot. Alexander approaches her, says, "Hey, Cuddles, we're friends, right? Can you go? You work here. Go get us some food." She got a weird vibe from him, so she snuck around back to go inside. The second she got in, they all pulled guns on her and started screaming at her. Go open the back door, go back, open the back door. They didn't have a hostage. They weren't threatening anybody. So as soon as she gets through that door, as soon as she walks through that door to the back area, she just hides. She's like, fuck them. You know, like she doesn't have guns on her. She's not going to go and open the door and have them be able to point their guns at her again, right? She's terrified of guns. So Asher Block was also there. He pushed the button for the cops. The cops show up. There's a shootout. Cops and them, they all get blown up. Whatever. Cuddles is like, hey, I stood up for Burger Shot. I didn't open the door. I hid. She works a bit of her shift. She leaves. 3 cars surround her. She's ordered into the trunk. They take her up to the fun house. They're pointing guns at her, beating her up. Demand. So she has to call Stephen Hayes for a repair kit. Please come meet her at the gas station in Great Seed. She calls Stephen. She does exactly what they told her to do. But Stephen is like, why did Cuddles call me? Thomas is right here. Like, she would have called Thomas if she actually needed help. So Stephen gets the heebie-jeebies. Thomas calls. The phone rings. He sends her text messages. She doesn't answer. She's handcuffed in the funhouse. She's hostage right now. So they send Asher to go investigate. Asher shows up. They make the same demand of Asher, but he makes the mistake of trying to give Stephen clues. So they just shoot him down right in front of Cuddles. So they let her go. You know, they said Speedy dumped her off at the airport without her phone, took all her stuff, her sledgehammer, everything, robbed her, dumped her off at the airport. So then that was fine. Cuddles was mad at Alexander. She punched a cop to go to jail so she could beat Alex up in jail. So there was a bunch of stuff happening with Alex and Cuddles at that point, where Cuddles was kind of threatening him. And that's how Birdman got tied into all of it, is because Cuddles used her relationship with Birdman to get Alex's phone number, and then Birdman was feeding Cuddles details of where they were. Oh, he's at the hospital right now. So Cuddles would call him and be like, you gonna stay hiding in the hospital? You know, like to threaten him and to be scary, like she's watching him and she knows where he is. They handcuffed Birdman, looked at his phone, saw the messages, saw that they'd been feeding Cuddles information about them, and they ocean dumped him. So that's the first part. Then what happens is that Cuddles is just having a normal day, hanging out. Her and a buddy, they stole a motorcycle. They're driving around. Turns out it was Speedy's motorcycle that they stole and had been driving around with. And apparently somebody had gone and vandalized Speedy's store. Cuddles wasn't even aware Speedy had a store. So they roll up, they kidnap Cuddles, they take her to a house. She doesn't know, or it wasn't a kidnap so much as Speedy called and was like, "Come, you want to talk to me? You come talk to me." And then, of course, he kidnapped her out from in front of the apartments, right out from under the nose of a police officer. Actually, like Cuddles is saying, "No, I don't want to go anywhere with this person. I need to stay right here." And Speedy just like handcuffed her, got her on the bike, and gone. Done. Okay, so getting the bike is a bit of a long story, guys. But she did it. There it is. She got it. So what happens is Speedy takes her to a house. He's kicking her. He's beating her up, demanding, like, "This is what you get for shitting in my nest." And she's like, "What are you even talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." So Cuddles had no idea what he was saying. And then turns out his store had been vandalized and they thought it was Cuddles because she was the same one that had stolen Speedy's bike earlier that day. She didn't even know it was Speedy's bike. Somebody else had stolen it and she hopped on, and then that person went to bed, so Cuddles had the bike. She was driving around with it till it broke, and then she just left it in the middle of nowhere. So when Speedy rolled up to the apartments with that motorcycle, it was like, oh no. So what ended up happening, Speedy told Harry, so this is where Harry comes into the picture. This second kidnapping Harry was there for. He's got a big gun. Speedy says, shoot her up with the stuff. Give her a needle. Cuddles is like, oh, is that heroin? You know, she doesn't, you know, do heroin, but she's not, you know, she's not a kid. She doesn't mind the drugs so much. Like, Cuddles grew up selling drugs for the carnival and stuff like that. So she's familiar with drugs. She's familiar with the selling game. And they're like, oh, well, that didn't quite work. And Speedy's like, do it anyway. Give it to her. So he shoots her up with heroin. And then Speedy says, shoot her in the face. And Harry shoots Cuddles in the face 3 times. It looked like he kind of pulled off to the side a little bit. Like the gunshots weren't directly in her face. And they left her mask on. So I was able to, you know, the mask took some of the brunt of that shooting. Then Speedy took the mask off, said they were going to give it to Thomas. And then they left her lying in a pool of her own blood. The next time I signed in, I dragged her ass from who knows where to who knows where, leaving a trail of blood the whole way. Some BBMC members picked her up. And they helped her. They took her to grandma's. They got her fixed up. They gave her some pills for the pain, because now she's hankering for heroin. Oh, and after they shot her up, Speedy told Harry to give her another needle. So she actually got 2 injections of heroin that time. So she's trying to recover. You know, they take her. I ended stream. It was a very short stream. It was just purely getting Cuddles from point A to point B. So, but Speedy left a note. There was a mug that said World's Best Boss and a note that said, if you survive, work for me, you know who. So this wasn't a body dump. This is something she's allowed to remember what happened, but she was really, really drugged up. So she didn't know that it was Harry that shot her. She didn't remember a lot of the details of things that happened after that first needle. But, so we start just asking around, you know, like she hooked up with Birdman and Pico one day, and she's like, look, I didn't vandalize Speedy's store, and I want to find out who did it. So they went to Speedy's store, they looked, there's broken window and a brick, and it's like, okay, so it's still being vandalized. So she starts asking around, and there was a man there, and he says, oh, well, we're asking questions, and it turns out that Harry Brown, who works for Cerberus, works with Speedy, and that's probably the man that Cuddles is talking about because she mentioned a beard. So Birdman, Pico, and Cuddles march into Cerberus. I was not expecting any of this to happen, okay? None of it. I was not expecting this to happen. Birdman's yelling, Harry! Harry! in the freaking courtyard of Cerberus. And I'm just like, nobody's here. This lady comes down and she's like, oh, are you here to see someone? It's like, yeah, we're here to see Harry. Okay, he'll see you in a couple minutes. It's like, oh, what? So we waited for him to finish his meetings, and then we walked in. I was so nervous. And Cuddles said, well, Harry, Cuddles remembers. She found you. She found out where you live. She found out where you work. She knows your name. There was a note there that was left. There was a note that was left for Cuddles to work for Speedy. And he's like, well, Speedy's not around, but here's what we'll do. Harry will take care of you for now until Speedy gets back. And it's like, okay, interesting. And Cuddles makes the demand. She's like, well, if you want Cuddles to work for you, you need to buy her a motorcycle because she needs to be able to get around. She needs a motorcycle. She wants to be able to sell your drugs. She's going to need a motorcycle to do that. Of course, she was thinking cannabis at the time. So things get a little tense, and Buddha's cougar definitely took out Birdman, and we all kind of get rushed out of there, and we survived the meeting. But she kind of like demanded this motorcycle on a complete brazen bluff. It was a total bluff. She was expecting to be laughed at, but he took her seriously. And she's like, okay. So getting the motorcycle is such a huge moment in that arc because it shows that they're accepting her. Panther, yeah. Yeah, that's the one. So we walked into Cerberus, demanded a motorcycle, and then left, and we all survived. I'm like, okay. A couple days later, she gets a phone call. It's like, all right, we're gonna buy you this motorcycle, Cuddles. And she's like, okay, sure, why? You know, like, what the hell? Why are you listening to her demands, Harry? Like, she asked him. And he said, because of the rainbow medicine. So Cuddles knows about the rainbow medicine. She knows about heroin. Harry and Speedy have heroin. She knows this. This is something they do not want her to know. They don't want it to get out. So Harry told her, this information is something that they want to protect. And so she knows she can't talk about it at all. And so she was kind of presented with a choice, is that either she goes against them or she's with them. If she's with them all the way, because that's the type of character she is. She also grew up in a family situation where her family situation was that she had one person who cared for her and he punished her with violence. And so the punishment via violence, it fits in with how she's being treated by these people. They hurt her for things that were naughty, you know, in her mind is like, these were bad actions. Cuddles did something bad, so she got punished. Whether or not she deserves it, you know, that's a waffly place, but this is the sort of family structure that she can recognize, that she is used to. And therefore, she went for it. I don't know how things will be when Speedy gets back, but right now Harry has kind of been the one that she's been connected to. When Thomas Normandy died, she was wandering around distraught. She made a phone call to Harry. And the reason I have hope for that relationship is because she was so distraught. Harry said, is Cuddles in trouble? She's like, Cuddles is always in trouble, Harry, whether she means to be or not. So the bike, she gave the bike to Alex to pass on to her because our timelines are a little different. You know, it's much harder for me to get in and out in the city for the NA. And so it's harder for me to roleplay with Harry, but these guys are around a little bit earlier, so it's a little bit easier to connect with them, you know. So the motorcycle was purchased and absolutely passed along, and honestly, I'm thrilled. Now, the thing about the cheap, so when Birdman, Flash was telling Cuddles, it's a good bike, Birdman's like, it's the cheapest bike you can buy, you know, and it's true, it is. It's like but the Sanchez is a fairly inexpensive bike too, and that's what she asked for. Hello?
What up, Cuddles?
Do you like her new motorcycle?
You got this?
Uh-huh.
Yo!
This is her motorcycle. What do you think?
It's freaking sweet!
Amazing, right?
What is it, S-Key?
Enduro?
Enduro, sick. It looks so cute.
Aww.
I love it.
Thank you so much. She was worried it wasn't a good one, you know?
Oh, it looks cool as hell, though, you know?
Uh-huh. She can't have a Sanchez. This is pretty close.
That is pretty close. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Isn't it
well,
lovely?
Congratulations, yeah?
Thank you so much. Cuddles loves presents.
Big.
She's gotten so many presents today.
Yo, was it your birthday?
No. You want to see another
Just free
present?
presents? Yeah. Show me. Whoa, look
Isn't
at that
it
knife.
lovely?
Dang, you're gonna be
Today's
out
been a
there
great
going.
day.
You're gonna be out there going. Go shorter, go shorter. You're gonna be. That's cool. Amazing, incredible.
Do you want to see one of her other presents?
Yeah.
Here you go.
That's a good present.
Uh-huh.
How much were those presents?
They were
Oh wait,
presents.
there's a present. Duh.
Yeah.
Wonder where they got them. That's cool.
Right?
Gotta start cuffing people. Go get Steve.
That's
Go
the
get Steve.
idea. She used to use zip ties, you know?
Not no more.
No
That's
more.
for real. That's
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Means folks
You're
can get out of
playing?
it, but, you know.
Yeah, but you know what? Most people are washed anyway.
Like
That's
Cuddles.
amazing. Well, congratulations, Cuddles.
Thank you so
That's
much.
amazing.
It's been a
Swear
good
it's hard to
day.
play.
You know, hard week, but a
Hell
good day.
yeah. It's a good day.
What are you
What
up
I'm
to,
saying.
T?
I'm just gonna goof around for a little bit,
Uh-huh.
maybe bike, and then
Cuddles needs, she needs to drive around and see if she can find a